morning. Welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. So early. Today I want to discuss what happens to you when you go in the hospital. Oh my God. Now, it used to be that if you were diagnosed with diabetes, you would go in the hospital, and I think it was 2 to 3 weeks. For me, I was in there practically a month. And during that time, a lot of things will happen. And you're reminded of this when you go into the hospital again for diabetes. Now, there's a lot of times I come into the hospital and immediately emergency starts putting you on. Oh well, what happened? You'll be asked 50,000 questions. What happened? Why did this happen? And, if it's for me a low blood sugar, it's like, I have no idea. If I'm that low, I don't remember. It takes up to sometimes 2 or 3 months that I pull things together and it kind of makes sense. I'll be lying here one day and, oh yeah. So I'm personally never really able to give directions or what happened. But when you go there, immediately you'll be put on 4 glucose tests a day. You kind of have no choice. You'll be also getting blood drawn once a day for every day you're there. It just happens. Now, if you're there for something more than diabetes, speak to your endocrinologist about, controlling your diabetes while you're there. It gives them a good chance to see how well you do, but it also allows you to learn how to handle yourself when you're sick. Now, the first time I went into the hospital, and it hasn't happened to me since, or I've never been aware of it since then, but it was kind of like every patient on the ward got this, and it was like an in and out record, and you had to measure your pee, and for diabetics, that's really very little. Now, if you go in for a low blood sugar, they're pretty well going to observe you for a bit. And then in most cases, they'll let you go home. If you're there for a high blood sugar and trying to regain control, that's where the fun really starts. Now, years ago, and thank God we no longer have to do it, but we used to have to take urine samples, and you had to relieve yourself, and then you had to go 20 minutes later. So getting ready for lunch was a big production. And if you're at work, it didn't really work out that great. Now, a finger poke and it's over with. And the problem with urine tests were, if you had 1% sugar, your 1% sugar could be identified as a higher blood sugar or a lower blood sugar than your roommate because it had to do with your renal threshold, sort of like how much sugar is in the kidneys before it's delivered. There are times where they want you to count your carbs, and when I first got my menu for the diabetic center, I had to go through this meal exchange book, and nowadays I go in and I count my carbs, and you know what? Oh well, let's get an official count from the dietary staff, because we think you're way too high in your carb count. And it usually was pretty damn close. So, just be prepared a lot of times when you go into the hospital for diabetes that every part of your day is going to be excuse me, filled with, oh well, no, or you are a diabetic, and that's one thing that just annoys me. Now, they're all trying to give you the best care, and there's just a little few bumps in the road. If you're there for something else, like I said, see if you can control your own blood sugar, because it's so much easier. If you start going high, you'll do it instead of sitting there waiting for, oh yes, I'll have to go ask the doctor, and then they'll wait, and usually they call a doctor, and they'll usually get a doctor who's not your endo, and will order insulin that is way too little for, and you're sitting there going, yeah, right. For example, when I'm sick, and they say, oh, we'll give you 5 units of insulin. 5 units of insulin doesn't do much for me. Now, on the other hand, if I want to give myself 100 units of insulin, sometimes they ain't good on the head. They won't do that. But keeping your eyes on the prize and keeping your blood sugars, and I mentioned it all in the last series, I'm going to keep going today. Keep your blood sugar in the best control you can. You don't want super high blood sugars all day, every day. Your body just won't like it. It's as pure and simple as that. Now, oh, sorry, itchy nose. Obviously, for things like myself, the last time I went into the hospital, I suffered from delirium, and I was out of it. Things. I don't ever want to do that again. If you're suffering from delirium, hand over control, because for me, I was sitting in a nurse's foyer in a black truck watching them watch this huge TV, and chances are I was watching an iPad. It's like, and I had a colonoscopy in a basement of a nurse's home. Like, really? And you need to know when you need to give up control. It's great to say, yes, I'm going to control my blood sugars, Give me the mic, I'll regain control. And if I have problems, I'll let you know. Be prepared to have either an IV or a PICC line installed, especially if you're problematic low. When I go into the hospital, if I get onto what I call my ward, 6 North, but they will put one in me because they know when I drop, they need somewhere they can quickly put a thing of sugar into me, a D5W syringe. And then you can't sleep after you're up, because your body has so much sugar then. So, when you go in the hospital, ask if you can keep control of your blood sugars, when to give insulin, letting them know. And so often, they will insinuate that, oh no, their glucometers are the only correct, because they get used all the time. And it's done by trained people. What do you think we are? We have to live with this diabetes, and we have to deal with these machines all the time. Just some thoughts. So, try to keep control of your diabetes when you're in the hospital. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you later. Bye now.
This is the